Shalom, this is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Swing Good Torah. Okay, we're doing Parsha Vayeilech. We're going to learn something incredible today. So in the Parsha, maybe there is some hints, and there's a whole idea that Moshiach may come in the 8th year. So right now, we just had Rosh Hashanah for the year 5782, and we're in the 7th year. We're in the Shmitah year, where it's the mitzvah to let the land of Eretz Yisrael rest, so we don't plant anything. A lot of farmers are doing this in Eretz Yisrael, not everyone yet, but a lot of people are doing the mitzvah. A lot of farmers are doing the mitzvah of letting the land rest for the Shmitah year. And then the motzi, when we go out of the Shmitah year into the 8th year, there's a Masorah that Mashiach could come in the 8th year. I mean, Bezrat Hashem, Mashiach comes sooner. But we're going to see that maybe there's some hints that Mashiach ben Yosaif could come in the 8th year. And that would take us to the secular year of 2023. And 2023 is an interesting year. In the Hebrew calendar in 1948, that's when Abraham Avinu was born. Abraham was born in 1948 of the Hebrew calendar, and we saw Hashem had something huge planned for 1948 of the Roman exile that we're in the Gullus Edom, 1948 of the Western calendar that we use right now. We saw this amazing thing happen, and millions of Jews returned to the land of Israel. And then when Abraham Avinu was 75 in his year, in the Hebrew year of 2023, he made the bris beina besorim. He actually made the covenant with Hashem. That's when Abraham made the covenant with Hashem. And Abraham asked, how do I know that my children are going to inherit the land of Israel? And Hashem told him, because of the Golas, because you guys are going to go in exile down to Egypt. Your children will be exiled down to Egypt. And we have a Masorah that just like when we were miraculously redeemed from Egypt, from Mitzrayim, the final Gula with Mashiach is going to be a much greater scale. It's going to be on a global scale. So we had Esther Makos, 10 plagues in Egypt. And I think this time there's going to be this vast, like global plagues. I mean, it's going to be kind of crazy, but Hashem's going to reveal himself through these 10 plagues to the world. And we'll take a look. And we see some of this in our Parsha and the amazing Mitzvah of Hakhel, which we'll see. Okay, so let me see if I can share the screen here. We'll take a look. Okay, let's see. So we'll go here to our Parsha, and let's see if hopefully it comes up. Okay, so we see here that we see the Mitzvah of Hakhel. So, and we see that it's in the 8th year after the Shmitah year. So it's the first pasuk here is in Devarim. It's chapter 31. If you want to see, it's pasuk 10. So it says, Vayetzav Moshe Osam. So Moshe commanded them. He gave the mitzvah from Hashem. Lamor saying, Mikate Sheva Shnim, at the end of 7 years, B'moed, on the Moed, B'shenat HaShmitah, when we come out of the Shmitah year, the 7th year, B'chag Sukkot. So in the 8th year, when we come out of the festival of Sukkot, is this mitzvah of Hakhel. So let me see if we can come down here. So then the pasuk says, the Hakhel, and this is the mitzvah here that we're going to gather. There's a mitzvah to gather the king. The Melech's going to gather all the Jewish people together in Jerusalem. And everyone goes up to Bezrat Hashem, the third base of Mikdash at some point. And it says, Hakhel esa'am, gather the whole people together. Ha'anashim, the men, the Hanashim, the women, Ba'ataf, even the small children, even the infants, the Gercha Sher Bisharaka, the converts that live in your gates, Laman Yishmu, so that in order that they will hear. Ulaman Yilmadu, and they're going to learn. V'yaru es Hashem Elokechem, and they're going to learn Yiras Hashem. So what's so good about Yiras Hashem? Yiras Hashem is one way that we are motivated. When we have a fear and respect for Hashem, it motivates us not to do averas, chas v'sham, not to transgress the lotas says, the mitzvahs that it don't do. The lotas says, the negative mitzvahs don't do these things. The yira motivates us not to do that, not to do the avera. And then the other way we come to Hashem is ahava, with love of Hashem. We love Hashem so much, we want to do his mitzvahs. B'shamru la'asos es kol divrei Torah zos. And then, because we're going to learn, we're going to hear, and this is going to make us do all of the words of the Torah, of this Torah. Okay, so that's the mitzvah of Hakhel, and we see in the 8th year, the Melech, the king, he gathers everyone to Yerushalayim to come up to the Temple Mount, and we're going to see something interesting. Okay, so now we're back. Let me see if we can share something else here. Let's see if it will work. We'll try to share again. We're going to go to Masechta. We're going to go to the Gemara of Sanhedrin. We're going to learn something really interesting here. So let's see if this will work. And hopefully this is working. We'll see. Or let's see if we can hide. Okay, so then it says here in Sanhedrin, it's Gemara Sanhedrin, and it's on page Daf 97a. It says, Es Sukas David Hanofeles. So You see the sukkah of David that fell, and it's asking the question, why is Mashiach called Bar Nafli? Why is Mashiach called Bar Nafli, the son of the fallen one? And it's because that the sukkah of David has fallen down. So what does that mean? So the kingship, the line of kings from David HaMelech, from King David, has fallen down. Now there's been great Torah leaders. Rashi, for example, I think was descended from King David. So there's been great Torah leaders, but since the line of David, since the line of King David, stopped ruling in Yerushalayim and Jerusalem, they haven't been kings. Like Rashi was a great Torah scholar, but he hasn't king. I think like Hillel was from King David, and Rebbe HaKodesh, Rebbe Yehuda Nasi. He was, who compiled the Mishnayos, compiled the Mishnah. They were all from David, but their line didn't rule as kings. And then when Mashiach ben David comes, it's going to reestablish the line of King David. So that's why Mashiach is called Bar Nafli. So then Rabbi Yochanan says, so Dor Sheben David Ba, in the generation that Ben David, the Mashiach ben David is going to come, it says that the Talmidei Hachamim mis ma'atim. There's going to be very few great Torah scholars, and unfortunately we see this like we have with Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky and some other great Talmidei Hachamim, but there are very few in the world, unfortunately. We want many, many great Talmidei Hachamim. And there's going to be so many tragedies in the world that we're seeing, unfortunately, that their eyes are going to be just filled with like grief and worry. Their eyes fail. They fail because of the sorrow and the grief. And we see tragedy after tragedy. Recently, seeing these horrible tragedies in Maron when Lag BaOmer, as crazy as that was, and we saw this tragedy of Surfside, Florida, and just the growing anti-Semitism, and we see these massive hurricanes and the forest fires, and it seems like there could be war breaking out over the world. We see like Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran, and they're all, coming, So, the rockets are flying from Hezbollah and Hamas, and Iran is right there orchestrating it all. And there could be this huge invasion, Chas v'shalom, but it says it in Masechta, Sota, the last Baraisa, about Hagalil Yacharav, that the Galilee region of Israel will be destroyed, and Bezrat Hashem, may it only be the buildings and not the people. We see all these things, all these crazy things happening before Mashiach comes. The Saros Rabos, and these tragedies, these sufferings are going to be great. The Gezeros Kashos, Mechadshos, and there's always going to be these new Gezeras coming against us. Ad Shaharishona Pakuda, Shania Mimach Heres Labo. When we see the first tragedy comes, then right away there's the next thing. Marom happened, and then Turfside happens, and the COVID and this Magefa, this plague of COVID is still here, and there's variant, and there's just threat of war all over the world. There's talk of China invading Taiwan, and there's tension between America and Iran, and Israel and Iran, and just Russia here and there, and it's just crazy. The world's just ready to explode, and then the inflation that the Baraisa talks about, and so there's just soaring inflation, and it seems like we are close. We are close to coming Mashiach. And then let's go down. Let's see. It says here, so Tana Rabbanan. So the rabbi, the Tana is taught in a Baraisa. So Shavua is the 7-year period, and then the 7th year is the Shmitah year, Sheben David Bo. So it's the 7-year period. Now I think what's happening in this Baraisa is Mashiach ben Yosaif, our Masor, our tradition is that Mashiach ben Yosaif will come first before Ben David comes, before Mashiach ben David comes. So during this Baraisa, Mashiach ben Yosaif would already be the Melech. And let's take a look at this. So Shana Rishona, the first year, the 7-year cycle, Miskaye Mikrazo. So it establishes this pasuk in Amos, in the Nevuah, in the prophecy of Amos, and it says, V'him tarti al ha'irachas v'al irachas lo amtir. So what does that mean? So it says in the first year, it's going to rain on one city, but not rain on another city. So what does that mean? So some of the Forshim say that it means that like every city's judged on their own merit. So there could be a great flood, a great hurricane, a great fire on one city, but then another city could be prospering, and then they could have like economic boom. There could be like a famine, like an economic suffering in one city, but the other city is doing good. Like Yerushalayim could be prospering, and this other city in Eretz Yisrael, Hashvasham, could not be. So it's like everything's going to be city by city, and the merit of each city is going to be judged in that first year. So Shnia, the 2nd year, so Chetze Ra'av Mishtalchim, and there's going to be like the arrows of famine sent out into the world. And this is scary, but this is why I think it's a remez, as a hint here to Mashiach ben Yosef, because he is descended from Yosaif. He's descended from Joseph Asadik, Joseph, the righteous one. And we know, and it's so famous, the story of Joseph, in Israel, I mean in Mitzrayim in Egypt, that Hashem gave him the power to interpret the Pharaoh's dream in those 7 years of plenty, 7 years of like great economic boom, and then 7 years of famine. And then Yosaif came up with the plan to store the grain for the 7 years, the harvest, great harvest and plenty and the great economic boom. And so maybe this is a reference here that this great famine, Mashiach ben Yosef is going to be ready. So now it won't be in Egypt, but maybe Mashiach ben Yosef will be planning for this famine in Eretz Yisrael, and there'll be plenty of food in Eretz Yisrael, and the world will have to come to Eretz Yisrael. And maybe this will be part of also the ingathering, the Jews that are still around the world, they'll come back to Eretz Yisrael where all the food is. So then Shalishis in the 3rd year, Ra'av Gadol, it's now a great famine and increases, and this is horrible, scary, horrible. Umesim, Anashim, Vanashim, Vataf, Chasidim, V'anshe Maisa. And then there's going to be many men and women and small children, and even the Chasidim, even the great righteous, overly righteous Jewish people, and even the Anshe Maisa, the men of great Torah learning and mitos, and even some of them will be subject to this famine. The Torah mish takachas milom decha, and then Torah is going to be forgotten from the people that learn it because of this great famine and the suffering, and people are hungry and they can't think straight, and they have no energy. It's going to affect our Torah learning in that 3rd year. It sounds very scary. May Hashem rachamim on us and lessen this. The Revis, and in the 4th year, so now it's going to be a year of economic boom and plenty again, and there's going to be bountiful crops in this 4th year. The Eno Sovea, but not completely. It's going to be not, the famine's gone, and now things are starting to pick up, and not completely yet. But Chamishis Sovea Gadol, but now it's going to great economic boom. Everything's good, plentiful crops. And v'ochlim v'shosim v'samekim, and now everyone's eating and drinking and celebrating and happy. But Torah chozeres limodecha, and now Torah returns to those who learn it. Now all the people in yeshivas, they have plenty to eat, the economic prosperity, and Torah returns in a great way. And then the 6th year, B'shishis kolos, the sounds of war. Now this great war brewing. This may be the war of Gog and Magog. And B'shavis milchamos, and now wars all over the world. Now it could be in the 6th year of the great war. This could be the great year of war of Gog and Magog, and Mashiach ben Yosef will be fighting against the forces of Satan and the Yetzer Hara and Gog, this other king that's going to oppose Mashiach. And this could be the great war of Gog and Magog. And then we have a machlokus, we don't know. Will Mashiach ben Yosef defeat, hopefully, the Satan and kill the Yetzer Hara? Or chas v'shalom, will the Yetzer Hara, the Satan, will he kill Mashiach ben Yosef in the gates of Yerushalayim? And then we have a Masorah. It's so incredible that Mashiach ben David is going to reveal himself, and he's going to, I believe, do Techiyas HaMesim. I think it's after 40 days after Mashiach ben Yosef dies, and I think the Jewish people flee to the Sinai desert again. And then Mashiach ben David reveals himself and does Techiyas HaMesim. He brings Mashiach ben Yosef back to life. And then we have that famous pasuk. We say it every day in davening in the morning, that the Mashiachim, both of the Mashiachs, Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David, they're going to go up to the Har Abayas. They're going to go up to the Temple Mount, and they're going to judge Har Esav. They're going to judge the powers of Edom, and it's going to be. And then it says, Bayomahu, Hashem Echad U'Shemo Echad, and then the world's going to see that Hashem, there's only one infinite being, that's God. And his name, Hashem, his holy name, is going to be one, and the world's going to see the unity. They're going to see both of these Mashiachs, coming in and fighting against the armies of Gog and the Satan, and it should be great to see. Maybe we see us all soon. So this maybe 2023, the year 2023 of the Western calendar, that was the year that Abraham made the bris bein Abasarim on Pesach, on Passover in Nisan. And there's also this great mitzvah of Hakhel, where I believe it's Mashiach ben David is going to gather all the nation and then read from Sefer Devarim, from the book of Deuteronomy to everyone. And we do this great mitzvah of Hakhel. So exciting things, Bizrat Hashem, and that could be just Be'ita, maybe, like that could be like the final time Hashem has. And Bizrat Hashem, we do Teshuvah this year in 5782. The Jewish people wake up, do Teshuvah, rediscover the beauty of the Torah, that Hashem is our God, and we do it early. And maybe we see the coming of Mashiach ben Yosef even sooner, hopefully soon, So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope everyone has a great Shabbos, and hope to see you again soon on Sweet and Good Torah. Thank you.